Kamunabi seems to be getting bested at every single point and turn that they go to by the Hishaku here, and this story, as it feels to me right now, it fills me with slight fear. It fills me with slight fear because this dude right here, he scares me. So let's talk about it.
Sometimes you gotta close the door to open a window.
Also, while you're here, you may as well like and subscribe. We drop Kagurabachi videos every Monday, and we read it live every Sunday when it drops on this channel for Shonen Sundays. Anyway, this chapter continues off where it left off last chapter, with Chihiro mentioning how he's cleared up the passengers onto a different car. And honestly, this whole setup right now reminds me of one of my favorite action films recently, which is Bullet Train, with Brad Pitt and the other guys in there. I can't remember the actors' names. But yeah, I wonder if that's where Takeru got his inspiration from, because he does like action films. Like as I mentioned, he is a big Batman fan, and you can see that Batman influence come out within these chapters. But something I mentioned in the previous video there was, I wonder if Takeru was going to use the assassination arc to give way to Chihiro and buff him up in a sort of mini training arc style by learning what he can about the enchanted blades from Yoji, who by the way is just straight up the leader, CEO, and #1 fan of Kunishigi. He is literally running the Hero fan club right now, and it's funny how this dude kind of like single-handedly is responsible for ending a war by basically creating nuclear weapons in the form of enchanted blades, yet everyone loves him. Like, I don't think everyone reveres Oppenheimer in the same way that they do with this dude. It's kind of interesting to see. But we get some more lore here between Yoji and Kunishigi, who Chihiro remembers a photo of from his dad that he'd taken with, and apparently his dad is wearing a t-shirt that literally says commemorative photo, which I think is quite interesting. But Yoji wielded the Kamunari 18 years ago, which makes Chihiro 18. I was uncertain about his age, but it makes him 18 years of age, kind of. And I can't lie, this dude, he's aged like fine line. Like, look at this photo. He looks the exact same as he did back then as he does right now. But Yoji asks if he can hold Enten, and he proceeds to hold Enten as if it is a baby. Now, this is a little bit of a crackpot theory from me, but there's a running subplot of children suffering within this story. Chihiro, Shaw, Hakuri are all victims, and even Mr. Inazuma are all victims of trauma at young ages here. But also the story, there's also a subplot storyline of the blades choosing their owners and vice versa. Now with Yoji knowing the blades far more in depth, like this dude is a veteran, he will know this blade he will know the enchanted blades as a whole far more in depth than what Chihiro does. I wonder if there is a reason he's treating the sword in this manner is because he's aware of the fact that these blades have personalities. I wonder if that's something that will be explored a little bit later on down the line. It does remind me a lot of Bleach's Zomback Toes here, but we did have a little moment there where Chihiro uses the last of Cloud Gadger and basically instructs it, and we get the narrator saying that it strained itself to basically help him. So it makes me wonder if these blades do have some sort of hidden personality. Anyway, we get some conversations between Chihiro and Yoji basically straight up says to Chihiro that he is Kunishigi, and it's like he doesn't even see Chihiro for who she is, and rather than he only just sees him as a product of his father, which is kind of sad, to be honest with you. And I hope that kind of like gets swatted away. I hope Chihiro is somehow able to address that at some point in the future and separate himself a little bit from it. But Chihiro reminisces about how him and his dad, they led a good life, and obviously that was before the Hishaku attacked, and obviously that's pretty easy to see because Chihiro, whenever he thinks about his dad, it's always a wholesome event, excluding that one time that, his dad sort of died. Outside of that, it's also always a wholesome event. They're always having a good time and laughing and smiling. It's nice to see that. Anyway, the conversation moves on slightly, and it serves to set up sort of the power balances between the Kamunabi and the Hishaku right now, because Chihiro talks about the Daten Sekai that Sojo has stabilized. And Chihiro explains how it allows them to wield powers of the enchanted blades in exchange for their lives, which is something I questioned in my previous video, because it was whether the Sekai had been stabilized or if it was on a time limit, or if the sorcerers knew that they would be given their lives for this fight. The way I'm envisioning this is, once you take hold of the Daten Sekai, it's kind of like grabbing a live power supply. If you grab a live, your hand clamps because the electricity tightens the muscles. Now I wonder if it's like the same sort of thing here, because why would they not just use the powers of these stones and then sort of toss the stones when they're done, let the bodies heal, and then I don't know. It makes me have a lot of questions here, but Hakuri sort of puts this all into perspective here about how the Kamunabi right now only has Enten and Flamebone, but the Hishaku has a lot of these Daten Sekai shards, or the Daten shards, should I say. Shout out to Piku on Twitter for coining that term, absolute goat. Anyways, Yoji mentions how he's kind of convinced that the fighters that he left back there in the former fortress that they just left, they're not going to lose to these guys. He really hit the fucking Night win, and honestly, it just went down a storm. It really went down just as good as Gojo's Night win. But he says that the Kamunabi has, in lack of firepower, they make up for in terms of team ability, basically. And we're shown that the guards of Yoji here just straight up bullying these two guys who rocked up. They just simply outplayed them and kind of just waited for their bodies to succumb to the Daten Sekai here, because we're shown a panel of all of the guys' bodies just exploding. But this sends alarm bells ringing off for me, I'm not gonna lie. The Hishaku right now seems to be as if they're evolving. Every time that their plans have been sort of foiled, they kind of evolve a little bit. And the power of the Daten Sekai constantly seems to be changing slightly. I feel as if they're going to recognize that the Kamunabi will just play defense until their fighters who've been sent out with these shards crumble, and they'll pull it back a little bit and try increasing the length of time that they can use these Daten Sekai shards. I mean, these guys are planners, you know what I mean? They've been planning for a long time. 3 years is a long time to plan all this out. Potentially even longer if you go off them waiting to get to Kunishigi. I don't know. It could be longer. However, this is where we are shown the true power of the Hishaku here, because as we arrive at the next station, we are introduced to some new characters, one of them being a leader within the Hishaku, I'm assuming, one of them being called Hirohiko, but we are given the reveal that this person straight up dragged the Kamunabi guards from that fortress to the train station. They're all gone. They're all dead. And this sets, again, serious alarm bells ringing for me, because I don't want to get into power scaling. It's not something I do. It's not something I enjoy. It's not something I like to do on this channel, but I'm going to indulge here for just a tad moment here, because these guys handle dudes who are using Dekai shards, and these shards generate powers that are capable of matching the enchanted blade, which we already know, meaning these guys, they're no slouches. They are capable fighters, and even possibly fighting on Shiba's level here. Shiba, who was also someone who has fought someone using these Daten Sekai shards, he was slightly pressed by these shards. So the Daten Sekai is no fucking joke. I mean, Shiba's a strong fighter, but this dude, after they beat the Daten Sekai users, this guy kind of rocked up and apparently no-diff them with the spectacular off-screen no jutsu here, and he does it without a single fucking scratch on him, and that is scary. Now, I'm not saying that this dude is the same strength as Mr. John Hishaku here, but this dude pressed Chihiro with no sorcery whatsoever, and just straight up hands. And that fact alone makes me wonder just how scary this dude must be, how scary Mr. John Hishaku's sorcery must be, and how just overall strong that these motherfuckers must be, how scary they must be if they somehow manage to get their hands on a blade. Now, we see Hirohiko trying to aggravate Chihiro here, but Chihiro, being just the cold motherfucker he is, just gives zero reaction to this little plot to have him run out, basically. And we see them facing off with Chihiro's N10 activated, and this new guy, Hirohiko, seems to be using sorcery. We see like glass or maybe ice shards starting to appear, because I'm not sure, I don't think they break anything when they're coming into train. Doesn't look like it, but this guy gives me serious Akatsuki vibes. In fact, the whole Hishaku give me serious Akatsuki vibes. Like when they appear, it just feels super ominous. It feels like when the Akatsuki appeared in early Naruto, not in Shippuden, but it feels like when they appeared in early Naruto, shit was just about to get fucked up. But overall, these chapters have been really fucking good. The past 2 chapters for a new arc, I'm extremely excited to see what Takuru goes with this. He kind of like keeps subverting my expectations, because I was genuinely expecting like they get out of here peacefully, not get chased down by these guys, and then we get maybe like a secret training arc, but apparently that's not what's going to happen here. But yeah, so many questions, a lot of craziness to get through, and anyways, that is everything from me. If you enjoyed your stay, please be sure to like and subscribe, because it always helps me out. Also, if you're watching this video right now, chances are I'm going to be live on my Twitch channel after this video playing the new Warhammer game. So come hang out, come support me on Twitch. Always helps me out. But that is everything from me. I will catch you guys all in the next one. Much fucking love. Big fucking kisses. Peace.